just to take a step back, like, growing up in China, mental health is not a thing. Like, nobody really has any awareness or have any education on it. So it's always been a cultural taboo, I would say, to say, someone is mentally ill. So I really didn't hear any of my family or people around me talking about mental health growing up. And then I just personally went through a really tough journey. It started when I was in my first job. And I guess growing up in that environment, I became really harsh and critical of myself and developed some really unhealthy thinking habits, like black and white thinking. I'm either really good at something or I'm total failure. And over time, my mental health is like an elastic rubber band. I just kept stretching it, and it broke eventually. And so yeah, I first noticed something was wrong in my first corporate job. I was just afraid to ask questions because I was worried that people would think I wasn't good enough for the job, and I tried to figure everything out by myself. And eventually, I became really stressed. And when I receive a new email in the inbox, I would, my hands started shaking, and I would go to the bathroom and cry. Any little task became really difficult. And I wouldn't be able to sleep and rest at night. And over time, it was just a vicious cycle. But I hadn't hadn't realized that it was something that I needed professional help. And I was just so afraid to talk to anyone about my real thoughts because of the stigma and the shame of knowing how people would perceive and think of me. Anyway, so the charity element of the business is what I guess I wanted, a business to not just have commercial value, but also an impact into the community and the society. A big part of it is because of my personal journey of recovering and surviving and attempts to harm myself with those really dark thoughts. And because I had those feelings and went through that tough journey when I was kind of transitioning from a student to a young adult, I believe that young people are a really good, like when they're in schools and university, that's the perfect time to educate them with not being ashamed of asking for help when they need to. So so that's why we are supporting a charity called Batia. They work specifically with young people. They run workshops in schools and universities, and encourage young people to get help when they feel the need to.
Oh my God, that is absolutely incredible. It is really interesting. And I mean, I think we're lucky in Australia because we do probably have a little bit more of an openness to talk about mental health and mental health issues. But even still with that, like I know a lot of people who have really struggled to ask for help. So I'm so impressed that you turned an experience that was negative, potentially life-threatening, and have actually taken that and are now giving back and, helping other people who might be going through something similar. Like, that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just not an easy journey, like you said. So many people struggle with it. And it's funny how, like, if we have a flu or a cold, we won't be ashamed to say, I need to rest, I need to go to the doctor. You wouldn't ask someone who has fever to, calm down yourself, like, without taking
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So I think looking back, I reached the lowest point in this journey when I was constantly told to just cheer up and be positive, but I couldn't. And the moment I realized I couldn't, that was the moment when I really reached the lowest point. knowing that I couldn't control this, and the thoughts were tormenting, and that's when I began to, you know, go down a really not healthy route of trying to harm myself. But I'm all better now with professional
Amazing.
help and the support of my family, and it takes a lot of trial and error of trying different treatment or even different medications. And even now there are still good and bad days for me, and
Yeah.
I recognize that my mental health is a continuous journey, and I've got to persevere with it. And what I found really helpful for myself is to schedule time, you know, to do those meditations, schedule time for those anxious thoughts, and to not try to suppress them, and just, you know, let
Yes.
them feel them, but let them go. And I have
Yes.
a journal that I can note down my emotions and feelings. That's been really helpful over the years to it's like I have this friend who is a journal who's always listening to me, and no,
That's
he
cool. I
knows
love
this journal's
that.
not going to judge me.
Yeah.
And that's like a, you know, like it's almost like an emotional outlet. And
Yeah.
what else? I've also learned to not be so harsh to myself. Like in the past, I would be really critical of myself, and I would even like say very unkind words to myself in my mind, like, oh, you're a failure, you don't deserve this. But I've actually learned to treat myself as a friend. You wouldn't say those unkind words to someone else, to a
Yeah.
friend of yours. Why would you say that to yourself? So
Yes.
it's a learning curve, and I'm sure you would agree, Danny, that in the business world, that's even harder for a business owner, especially women, to take care and prioritize their mental health, because we take on so